Hello, Grammar World. This is a video about subject complements. It is one of a two-part video series detailing complements, subject and verb complements. This one clearly about subject complements. And let's right begin. Subject complements complete the meaning of a linking verb. Linking verb. So, just like I said in the other video, if you are trying to figure out what type of complement you're dealing with, the very first thing that you have to figure out is what type of verb you are dealing with. So a subject complement comes in two flavors. The first type we're going to call predicate nominative. Nominative. That's an M. Nominative. And this comes from the root word nomen, which means name, which is where we get the term noun from, because a noun names something. So a predicate nominative names what the subject is. So it's going to be connecting, the verb is going to be connecting the subject to a noun or pronoun. We'll see some examples in a second. The other type is called a predicate adjective. This one's a lot more straightforward because predicate adjectives describe nouns. So a predicate adjective is a verb that is when a linking verb links a subject to an adjective that describes something about that subject. So this one's usually a lot easier for students, but we just described this one is PA and this one is PN. All right, let's look at some examples. So I am the teacher. So am is the linking verb here, and it is going to be linking I, the subject, to teacher. Now, teacher is a noun, and we know it's a noun because the is modifying it. Anything that the modifies is going to be a noun. That is the nature of an article. So, because we know this is a noun, it is a predicate nominative. It is naming what I am. So I am the teacher. And again, from the linking verbs video, you might recall that you can think of a linking verb as an equal sign. So I equal teacher, right? That's what it is. The students were excited. Were is the linking verb here, and it is linking students, the subject, to the state of being excited, which is an adjective. So this is a predicate adjective. Again, you're essentially saying students equal excited. That's what you're essentially saying with a linking verb, is linking these two things. Now, this next sentence is in here for a specific purpose. When you are dealing with complements, one thing that complements are not are prepositional phrases. So if you wrote off to the side here, prepositional phrases or phrase does not equal object. Right, does not equal complement, if you will. So we can take out a prepositional phrase to make life a little easier with anticipation. So they became restless. Now we have a three-word sentence, much easier. Became is the linking verb, linking they, the subject, to the state of being restless, which is an adjective. So we're dealing with a predicate adjective. Around the classroom, the students remained seated in their chairs. So, because we know prepositional phrases cannot be complements, let's just take them out the very first thing. So, around the classroom, the students remained seated in their chairs. So, we're just left with the students remained seated, and this is a much easier sentence to deal with. So, remained is the linking verb, right? And then it's going to be linking the subject, which is students, to the adjective of seated. It's describing the students. They are in the state of being seated. So it is a predicate adjective. So again, pretty straightforward here with subject complements because you're just telling something about the subject, and that's what linking verbs do. They link the subject to a state of being, whether it is you're naming the subject or you're telling something about the subject. You're describing in some way. So when you're facing a sentence, right, and you think, okay, what are the steps in figuring out what type of complement to do it? So let's start with the idea of a complement, right? And the first thing you have to figure out is it an action verb or is it a linking verb? Once you figure that out, if it's an action verb, you know it's going to be a verb complement. If it's a linking verb, you know it's going to be a subject complement. If it is a linking verb, now we can leave out the things for verb complements, but I'm going to put them in here anyway. If it's a verb complement, then it's going to be a direct object. And if it's a direct object, then there might be an indirect object. If it is a subject complement, you have to figure out, are you dealing with an adjective or are you dealing with a noun? If it's an adjective, then you have a predicate adjective. If it is a noun, then it's a predicate nominative. So, for the purpose of this video, we're going from here. Complements, right? Linking verb. If it's a linking verb, then you're going to have a subject complement. You have to figure out, after you figure out that it's a linking verb, is it pointing to an adjective or is it pointing to a noun? If it's pointing to an adjective, it is a predicate adjective, P-A. If it's pointing to a predicate nominative, if it's pointing to a noun, it's a predicate nominative, P-N. So, let's do a quick recap here. We're dealing with subject complements. A complement is a word or words that complete the meaning of the verb, and in the case of a subject complement, it is going to be completing something about the subject. If it's a noun, which is called a predicate nominative, it's going to be naming the subject. Remember, nomen, the Latin root for noun, names things. So it's going to be naming the subject. If it's pointing to an adjective, it's going to be describing the subject in some way. And that is really the difference. The main focus of these forms of complements is first figuring out, is it a linking verb or an action verb? After you've done that, the other part is relatively simple. So, if you're having trouble with action and linking verbs, I urge you to go watch my video on action and linking verbs. Thank you very much.